Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jael, for those of you that may not know, and today's video is going to be a flawless foundation slash flawless base video. So if you guys want to learn how I do my base makeup, please keep watching. Alright guys, so just to start, I know that the word flawless is definitely like a trigger word, and I want to explain. I am in no way suggesting that there is only one way to do makeup, or that anybody is truly flawless or can even make themselves flawless. It's just the general idea of wanting your makeup to look its very best. Basically, like just making sure that everything looks as blended and as seamless as possible so that you put your best foot forward when it comes to makeup. Everybody is beautiful. Nobody needs makeup for anything, unless like you're in a show and like you need makeup. But you know what I mean, like just in general, I'm not suggesting that you have to do this in order to be beautiful. I am just saying that this is how I like to do my makeup when I am doing my makeup. So if you guys want to see this little routine, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. First of all, it is finally feeling like fall where I live, and I'm so happy. So I am just in such a happy, mellow mood. I love it. Just wanted to put that out there. Okay, so when you guys are doing your makeup, one of the first things that you need to be aware of is that no matter how good you are at makeup, no matter the quality of the products that you use, it's not going to matter if you don't take care of your skin. So before you ever even sit down to put on foundation or primer or concealer or anything, you need to make sure that your skin is prepped, and that means you need to go ahead and do a skincare routine. Now, I'm not a skincare expert. I do have a lot of experience in training with skincare, but I am not a licensed esthetician or anything of the sort. So I'm not going to sit here and give you guys like an in-depth talk about skincare. What I am going to say, however, is to make sure that you guys are figuring out what your skincare concerns and needs are. A lot of that comes from using a skincare routine and taking care of your skin before you ever put makeup on. And that's really going to help you to kind of be discerning about the type of products that you put on your face. It's going to let you know what products are for you, what products are not so much for you, and kind of go from there. It's going to really make everything a lot easier on you. I am a combination queen. I have a very oily T-zone, which is this area right here, and I have certain areas of my skin that can get a little bit more dry. So I can get a little bit dry under here, especially now that we're in fall time. Around fall, winter time, I can get a little bit more dry around this little area right here. I can get a little bit dry kind of around the mouth area, and sometimes even like back here, even though I have, this is also kind of where I see blemishes and stuff, I can get a little dry like right around this area too, but I feel like it mainly focuses like this area. So those are areas that I know I want to pay attention to and just keep in mind as I'm doing my makeup, so that I make sure everything looks as nicely as it can, because I'm already taking care of those areas. Now, drier areas a lot of times can be the areas where you experience some more texture. I tend to notice I have a little bit more texture right here when certain products are on top of it. Like it can emphasize it. I don't notice it as much here depending on the product. But like I said, I'm always making sure that I try and just compensate for that in some way, shape, or form. So when it comes time for me to prime my skin, I've already finished my entire skincare routine. I have moisturized, and now I'm ready to start the actual process of prepping the skin for my makeup as far as primers go. So some people like to just use a moisturizer as a primer. Some people like to use a moisturizer in conjunction with a primer. Some people like to layer them. I'm a person that likes to layer. So I always apply my moisturizer, and then I will let that kind of absorb into my skin, dry down, and within like 30 to 45 minutes of me doing my skincare routine, I'm normally sitting down to do my makeup. If I'm in a rush, I don't always have the luxury of having that much time in between. For primers, I also really like to marry my primers and to mix and match what I'm doing. So in my T-zone, I tend to like something that's going to be a little bit more oil controlling and pore filling and make things look really nice and smoothed out in the area, but also, like I said, give me the extra oil backup that I don't have a bunch of oils poking through. And for the rest of my skin, I like to have something hydrating. Now, I also take into account the type of foundation that I'm going to be applying, which I will get into in a minute, but I'm going to start off by just showing you guys the products I'm using on my skin today. So in my T-zone, I'm using my Touch in Sol No Problem Primer. It is amazing and a little bit goes a very long way. I have used this on stage under very hot stage lights, and it has really helped my makeup to stay up, you know, going. It's helped my makeup to hold up, and I feel like it just is such a good product. And then with whatever is left over, I just gently bring it up into the forehead. I try not to put too much of any type of product on the forehead, including foundation and stuff, just because I feel like it can just kind of look like a lot and it can get a little bunched up and cakey up there sometimes. So I try to keep the forehead kind of like the leftover spot. I'll go up there and touch up there, but I focus on the rest of my face first. I'm picking up my e.l.f. Jelly Pop Dew Primer. This primer is only, I believe it's only $8, and you can get it in stores, but you can also get it on their website. This is a fantastic primer. It's been called a dupe for the Milk Makeup, I believe it's the Milk Makeup like gripping primer or something like that. I have never tried that primer, but I really like this one. It is super affordable. It has a hydration aspect to it. Rude. And it is also clear, so if you're a person of color, you don't have to worry about the, like, you know, undertones of some products that we get that can be a little purple or gray. It's just going to go right on your face, and it's nice and clear, and it gives your face a little bit of hydration, and it really does a great job at priming the skin. It also has a slight tackiness to it, which I love, because when I'm using more hydrating foundations, I like to have something with a little bit of an extra grip to it, just so that I know it's not going to go sliding everywhere on days when I'm especially oily. I really loved this in the summertime, because when I was wearing my makeup and I was feeling really hot, I didn't have to worry about whether or not my skin would like make my makeup start slipping and sliding once the oils kicked in. Everything really stayed in place. And that wasn't just on the primer, that was also on the foundation itself and on the way that I did my makeup, but this definitely was the first line of defense, and it helped a lot. I actually learned this tip from Jackie Aina, but a lot of people in the makeup world do this and have been doing this, so you may have heard of this tip, you may not have. I'm going to now set my primer. I don't set my entire face because, like I said, I really like to keep this hydration aspect going, and I don't feel the need to set it, but I do set right in this area, because this is where makeup breaks up on me first, is my nose area, and like right around this area, like this T-zone area is where I first see my makeup starting to go. So in order to make sure that that lasts on me, it looks as smooth and as beautiful as possible, I like to just go in with a very lightweight powder, and I like to set in that area. Now, the two main powders that I use to do this are my Laura Mercier powder, which is a translucent powder, or I like to use my Danessa Myricks Beauty powder. I'm going to go in with this one today because I've been loving this one the most lately, because it is already my skin tone, and I feel like it just looks a little bit better because it's just kind of a fluid thing. It doesn't feel like there's already a lot of light coming from underneath my foundation, and I kind of can have a little bit more control with everything. You can also use a pressed powder for this. You just want to be light-handed. So I have just dumped a little bit of the Danessa Myricks powder out on this palette. I did already start applying it to my face, then I realized my camera wasn't filming, so I'm just kind of backtracking now. So basically what I did is I dunked my sponge into the powder, and then on the back of my hand I pressed off the excess product, and now I have a little bit of this product on my hand that I'm just working off of, and I'm going to use this to just kind of set the area. Now, like I said, I don't set the entire face. I kind of go right like to my outer corner of my under eye, and that's where I concentrate everything, and the powder is mainly placed on my nose because, like I said, this is my oiliest area and where the makeup will start to fade on me first. So I really like to make sure that this area is kept in check. You guys do not have to do this at all, especially if you're like, this is just too many steps. Make sure that you remember throughout this entire video, you can totally cater it to you and add in or take out whatever you feel like you need. These are just steps that work for me personally. So I'm going to be picking up this Ciate London Everyday Vacay spray. This is just like a hydrating mist, and I'm just going to use that to just kind of prep the skin a bit. So for foundation today, I'm using the Beauty Bakery Insta Bake Aqua Glass Foundation. This is one of my favorite foundations of all time. It is so, so, so beautiful. I cannot talk about it enough. I love this foundation. It just wears beautifully. It looks beautiful. This one is a little bit more neutral, but it still works on me, and I can always warm it up with like bronzers and stuff like that. But I love this foundation. It offers beautiful coverage, and the way that it stays hydrated, it's almost like a satin, not quite like a satin matte, but like a satin natural. It looks like your skin, but you look hydrated, but you don't look overly dewy, but you just kind of look like velvety and smooth and beautiful. I don't know how to describe it without you actually seeing it, but it is such a beautiful foundation. I am going to just take about a pump and a half. I like to start with a little bit less and just kind of work off of my initial application and then slowly build up rather than going in ham the first time. So something else I like to do, especially in the age of Corona, is ensure that my makeup is really going to stay in place and last. So I like to marry a setting spray with the products I'm using. Sometimes it'll just be a hydrating spray, sometimes it'll be a long-lasting spray. It depends on kind of what I want for the day. I'm using this one from Beauty Bakery. They're both Beauty Bakery products. They work very well together. This really works with everything, but this is the Beauty Bakery Sweet Grace Baking Spray. I really love this because it does help with the longevity of makeup. It's not, in my opinion, it's not the same as like an Urban Decay All-Nighter, but it is still a very good setting spray, and you can use it to help hydrate the makeup, and it kind of reminds me of the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. The difference is that this one has a stronger scent than the Morphe one. I don't really even notice the scent from the Morphe one. This one has a stronger scent, but it does dissipate as you wear it. So I like to just spray my brush with this. You guys are a little bit closer now, so you can really see what's happening. I have my slightly damp brush from the spray, and I am just going to press this in. Another great tip I can give is when you are using a brush over a sponge to apply your product, pounce it into the skin rather than just kind of dragging and brushing. That is going to help you to have that seamless finish that you want. Because sometimes I've noticed that people are always like, I can't get like a flawless application with a brush, and it's because they're sweeping and they're seeing little streaks. If you just pounce it in like you would a beauty blender, you're gonna get that. And as you guys can see, it looks really beautiful. I already have a really lovely amount of coverage. I can totally build this up without worrying. And I'm just gonna, like I said, take a little bit of whatever is left over on this brush and start just applying it to other areas, and then I'm going to go back and add in some more. So if you guys notice, while I was applying this, I didn't go directly up under my under eye. You guys can go kind of, I would say you can totally do like up around the lid area and just kind of help pre-smooth everything out. Even if you're going to be applying some eyeshadow and stuff there, you can still do that, just because sometimes, especially if you're a person of color, there aren't a lot of products out there that are made with deeper skin tones in mind, so you have to do a little bit of working around to make sure that things look closer to your actual skin tone. So that's totally fine. Do what you need to do in that regard. I really like to keep this area clear for the concealer. The reason being, if you pay attention to things like eye creams, they're specifically formulated for the under eye area because this area is a lot thinner and kind of can't handle as much weight as the rest of the skin. And so this area, that's kind of where you need to be a little bit more careful so that when I go in with a concealer, it's going directly onto that area and I'm not weighing anything down and making sure I'm just taking care of my skin the entire time. I am going to do a few extra steps. So I'm going to teach you guys how to do a little bit of like the extra oomph for your concealing. So I start off by doing a little bit of color correcting. Now I color correct in a very similar way to how a lot of people color correct, which is I like to use products that kind of are a little bit warmer than my skin tone to bring about that color correction rather than going in with just a straight up color corrector. I do use a regular old-fashioned color corrector that's like a little bit like the red or orange or whatever on occasion, more so like orangey on occasion, but I much prefer to use a corrector that's just a concealer with a deeper undertone that can be used as a corrector shade. I'm using the Lancome Tantu Doll Ultra Wear Camouflage Concealer, and this is in the shade 335 Suede Warm. Start off here under the eye, and I'm just going to very lightly just pat that right under the eye. I want to show you guys what I do when I want to just add a little bit more drama, a little bit more light under the eyes, kind of bring a little bit more focus and a little bit more contrast. That's kind of what you're doing when you're highlighting and contouring. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of that. I'm not going to quite go into the highlighting and contouring thing because that's not what this video is about. But since I'm showing you how I do my base, I'm going to just teach you guys this. So this little trick is called backlighting or underpainting. I like to do this. Before would do it on top of my concealer, but I have been switching it up and doing it underneath my concealer, my main concealer that I use, because I just feel like it looks better. So I'm going to start off by using the Pretty Vulgar concealer. This is their undercover concealer in the shade The Middle Ground. For concealers, I like to use a more hydrating concealer. I don't want something that's so hydrating that it's like slipping around on my face, but I want something hydrating enough where my under eyes aren't feeling like they're being sucked dry and there's a lot of texture. So I'm using two concealers that I really love today, one of them being my favorite concealer of all time, which you guys will see in a moment. Some of you may already know what it is. And when I'm using a matte concealer, I like to make sure that the matte concealer is just matte enough that I, don't have to do a lot of work with it and that it can kind of set itself in place and stuff like that, but that it's not so matte that it's drying my, under eyes out and that I'm getting a lot of texture. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So I'm going to take my sponge now, and I'm going to take my sponge now. So the tip that I would give for blending is I personally like to start from the bottom edges, and I like to blend it, and then I like to make my way up to the top. I just feel like I noticed a difference when I started blending my concealers out this way, because it's kind of like when you're painting something and you kind of want to start like, I guess, at the ends and make sure that it blends into everything instead of kind of starting where the most pigment is and just dragging it down, because then you don't have anywhere for anything to go. I feel like it's kind of the same way with concealer, where if you kind of start right from the top, you're kind of just blending down into stuff versus kind of starting from the bottom, letting it kind of blend seamlessly, then adding more and letting it kind of blend. I just feel like you're giving yourself a better chance for everything to work out. And I want to shout out Jackie, Ina, and my mentor Michelle for teaching me stuff like this, because I definitely didn't know it before. For my main concealer, I'm going to be using my Pat McGrath Labs, this is a long name, Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Concealer / Corrector in the shade M17. Now this is my favorite concealer of all time. It is the best concealer of, was it released this year? Yeah, 2020. It was the best concealer of 2020. It's so good. It is a hydrating concealer, but it gives you the most beautiful coverage. It doesn't move on your face. You're not going to, I have not seen anybody talk about experiencing creasing, and I haven't experienced like creasing from it, which we're going to get into that in a second, but it's such a good concealer. I highly recommend everybody pick this concealer up. It's just so good, especially especially if you like a hydrating concealer. I've seen people with super oily skin love this concealer. I've seen people with super dry skin love this concealer. It's just like a fan favorite. It's amazing. Some people have natural folds under their eyes and natural creases, and I'm gonna be completely honest, there's not that much you can do about that. Like with makeup, you know, I'm sure there are some secrets that I'm not aware of, but like I have natural folds under my eyes right here, so I always have a little bit of like creasing there. I don't count that as creasing because that's just what my eye does. It's just the skin under my eye. That's just how it is, with or without makeup. Now, if I am wearing makeup and all of a sudden I'm seeing like a bunch of lines and bunching, that's creasing in areas where I never see it. I don't get that from this concealer. I don't get that from most of the concealers that I use, thankfully, but you'll definitely know. So that looks beautiful. I like to use a sponge. Like I said, I feel like it just helps everything to blend very nicely. It helps to pick up any excess product, but you can also go in with a concealing brush and blend everything out, like the one that I use from IT Cosmetics. Pat McGrath also has a beautiful concealer brush, so you do whatever you feel like works best for you. I don't do the entire bridge of my nose. I kind of do like right here. I take a little bit up here, and like I said, do less or more depending on you and what you feel like you need. And then I like to do a little bit right there, because it just kind of gives a little bit more of a plumpness to your lips. Something else you can do while we're here, just to teach you the tricks, with whatever is left over on your sponge or brush, whatever you're using. If you want, you can just kind of hit under those cheekbones, like right in that little pocket, and that'll just kind of already start like a little chiseling out motion for you. It'll just kind of help to just sculpt the cheekbones a bit. I'm going to hop off camera really fast, just finish up my makeup, and then I will be back with you guys to close out the video. All right, you guys, and this is the completed look. I really hope that this video was helpful for you guys and informative, that it gave you guys a little bit more of a hint of how to kind of get what you want, explain some things that maybe were a little bit confusing. It was requested of me to do this video in this style and just really focus on these main features that I did. So I really hope that this was in fact helpful. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to let me know by giving it a big thumbs up. Comment down below and let me know if you would like me to do a deep dive on anything else. I would be more than happy to look into that. And also make sure that you guys are subscribed to this channel so you don't miss any uploads, and hit the notification bell so that you always know when I post a new video. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I'm really like, wow, okay. I'm digging how this look turned out. Truly, it's very, very pretty. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all in my next one, and until then, bye my loves.
Say my name until the city burns and the stars fade away and your scars don't hurt. Stay with me until the last